So this is a coal-fired power plant in Belmont, North Carolina. It's called the Allen Steam Station, and it is run by the Duke Energy Corporation. Now, one of the problems with running a coal-fired power plant like Allen, I mean, don't get me started. I could go on. There's a lot of problems. But one of the problems with a coal-burning power plant like that is that after you burn the coal to fuel this plant, it produces leftovers. And the leftovers after you burn coal is something called coal ash. And from a plant like this, the leftover coal ash is voluminous. There is a ton of it. And it is dangerous. It's toxins and heavy metals like arsenic, known carcinogens. Well, Duke Energy stores that marvelous stuff in coal ash pits. Like these ones. They're basically man-made little ponds designed to hold all of this toxic sludge from the coal-burning power plants. Oftentimes, those pits aren't even lined, which means there's an increased chance that the toxic materials from the coal ash will leak into not just the ground, but into the local groundwater. And that's what many people believe happened in areas surrounding Duke Energy's many coal-fired power plants, including those in North Carolina, power plants like the Allen Steam Station. In April 2015, North Carolina officials issued letters to people who owned wells, 330 wells that were near the state's coal-burning plants. And those letters notified those people that their well water was contaminated. Wells showed carcinogen levels many times higher than the state's warning level, meaning that you were at risk of getting cancer if you drank from that contaminated well water. That was the notice that homeowners and landowners got from the state in April of 2015. But within a couple of months, by July of that same year, something interesting happened in North Carolina. The governor of North Carolina at the time was a longtime Duke Energy executive and a Republican, a guy by the name of Pat McCrory, and he hired this man. He hired a new state health director for the state, a man named Dr. Randall Williams. Now, although Williams did not conduct any new testing of groundwater or these wells near coal ash pits and all this stuff, despite the fact that he conducted no new scientific inquiry on the subject, the new state health director, Dr. Williams, decided not long after he started at his new job, he decided that the state had been not thinking clearly when it had sent out those do not drink orders, when it had declared that well water unsafe. And as the new health director of the state of North Carolina, he decided to rescind those orders. Remember that do not drink order you got about the contamination in your well? Never mind that. I'm the new health director. I say it's fine. The story did not go away as quietly as Dr. Williams might have hoped, however. In a lawsuit later filed against Duke Energy, the state's toxicologist, a guy by the name of Kenneth Rudo, testified that state officials knowingly told people that their water was safe when we knew it wasn't. Rudo had been the state's toxicologist for nearly 30 years, and he blew the whistle on this. He specifically called out the new health director, Dr. Randall Williams, in this 220-page deposition, saying that the state health director's job was to protect public health, but in this specific instance, the opposite occurred. The state toxicologist called the reversal of the do not drink advisory, quote, highly unethical and possibly illegal. The following month, his boss, the state's epidemiologist, resigned in protest, saying she could no longer work for a health department and an administration and a new state health director that, quote, deliberately was misleading the public. So, state toxicologist blowing the whistle on what's going on here. State epidemiologist resigns in protest, sends this blistering resignation letter about how the public is being misled. This is wrong. This is unsafe. They're saying this is possibly illegal. But the new state health director, Dr. Randall Williams, had a job to do, and he maintained that the epidemiologists and the toxicologists, these people were just nuts. He was sure the well water was safe to drink. Why is everybody being so hysterical? Dr. Randall Williams ended up testifying in the resulting controversy that he rescinded the do not drink warning notices because he thought that they were stirring up unwarranted fears, getting people all freaked out about safety issues where plainly there's nothing to worry about as far as he's concerned. Dr. Randall Williams lasted about 18 months in that job. The one thing he's remembered for in his short stint running the health department in the state of North Carolina, hired by the Duke Energy executive who was governor at the time, the one thing he's remembered for is his decision to rescind the do not drink the water orders. You know, and all of the fallout, the state epidemiologist quitting in protest, the state toxicologist blowing the whistle, announcing that the state health department was deliberately lying to the public and telling them their water was safe when it was not. I mean, that's the scandal that he created in a very short period of time running the state health department in North Carolina. That's what he did in his year and a half as the state health director in North Carolina. Whew. And then he was out. But then he got a new job. May have been sort of a scratch and dent sale kind of thing, but for whatever reason, right after that debacle in North Carolina, the new Republican governor of Missouri decided to hire him to come up to Missouri and become that state's new health director. He was appointed by the state's Republican governor before that governor ultimately had to resign in a big, spooky scandal. But he was confirmed by the state's Republican legislature. And it is this same guy, Dr. Randall Williams, who is now the man who is shutting down Missouri's last remaining abortion provider in the whole state. And it is he, this guy, who has insisted himself that as that last clinic fights to stay open and he is fighting to shut them down, it is he who has decided that the doctors in that clinic must now make their patients get unnecessary internal pelvic exams when they ask for an abortion on his orders. Republican-controlled states are, of course, trying to ban abortion all over the country right now. They all want to get their state's abortion ban before the Supreme Court because they all think with Justice Brett Kavanaugh on the Supreme Court now, the court will overturn Roe versus Wade. They all want their state to be first to make abortion illegal. And that's what's going on in Missouri, too. They've got their Republican legislature. They've got their new Republican governor replacing the one who left in scandal. The new one's called Mike Parson. He signed their abortion ban into law a couple of weeks ago. And now today, the Republicans in Missouri state government are taking further action to stop Missouri voters from getting to have a say on whether or not that abortion ban will go into effect. So what's happening in Missouri in some ways parallels what's going on in all these other Republican-controlled states across the country, as they're all trying to ban abortion. But there is one aspect of the fight going on in Missouri that is different, which is the active and very close to successful effort right now by that state government to shut down the last clinic in the state that is still allowed to provide abortions, in the last clinic in the entire state of Missouri. And it is a crucial thing to understand here, that the state is not using a new law to try to shut down Missouri's last abortion provider. This is not part of the abortion ban they just passed, which is going to be tested by the federal courts now. They're not using the legislature to revoke the last Planned Parenthood clinic's license to perform legal abortions. What they are doing is they try to shut down that last clinic and to stop the last place in Missouri where a woman can get a legal abortion. What they're doing, what they're employing to try to do that is that they're using this guy, Dr. Randall Williams, Mr. Drink the Cancer Water. He's the one who is selectively enforcing state regulations newly, as of this week, to try and get abortion shut down in Missouri. He is the one specifically who lit on this idea to force Missouri women who still want to go to that last clinic to have an unnecessary, invasive, medically pointless pelvic exam as the new price of asking for an abortion at that last clinic. As of this past week, he is the one requiring doctors in that clinic that they must do that to their patients. Fresh off his last job, making national news for rescinding the do not drink the water notices around the cancer-causing coal ash pits in North Carolina, Dr. Randall Williams says the reason he is fighting so hard to shut down the last abortion clinic in Missouri is because of his grave, overriding concern for patient safety above all else.
What all those Missourians expect me to do in a regulatory fashion is to enforce the law, enforce the regulations, and keep people safe. It's just our goal that it be done in a safe way. Our purpose in all of those is to protect health, keep people safe. We can never sacrifice safety for that access. We just can never sacrifice safety for that. We can never do that at the expense of safety. As I've testified in court 5 times now, is that we can never sacrifice safety for access. We have to have both.
We cannot sacrifice safety, says Randall Williams. One of the producers of this show, Kelsey Desiderio, was at that press conference with Dr. Williams, the state's health director. She asked Williams whether shutting down the last abortion provider in the state might actually lead to an unsafe situation in the state, whether it might actually lead to a rise in women seeking illegal abortions if he succeeds in getting rid of the last legal abortion provider in the entire state of Missouri. I mean, since he's the guy who's really super worried about women's safety, is he at all concerned about that?
Are you worried that the lack of access will jeopardize women's safety because they'll be forced to seek an illegal abortion, which will send a danger?
I do not believe that to be true, that you will see an increase in illegal abortions.
Why would that happen? I'm not worried about that at all. If Dr. Randall Williams succeeds, if he gets the last abortion provider in Missouri shut down, we're waiting on a judge's ruling right now to find out if he's succeeding in that. If he succeeds, Missouri will be the first state in the country to go dark in terms of access to legal abortion since the passage of Roe versus Wade in 1973. But he really does not mind that, big whoop.
Missouri is contiguous to 8 states. We in Tennessee share that distinction. The idea that we are a desert for any type of health care is one that really doesn't ring true. I'm sure that there are many people from all 8 of those states who come to our wonderful health care centers in St. Louis and Springfield and Kansas City all the time. So people crossing state lines to get health care is not an unusual factor.
But if abortion advocates say that there's a huge barrier, that it's a burden for many people in rural areas to get services outside of the state. They have to drive hours, get child care, they're low income.
Well, again, I believe that there are facilities in Illinois that are 12 miles from here.
From here, but not from parts of rural Missouri.
Exactly. And so then that once again gets back to the point that I made earlier, that access is incredibly important, but we can never sacrifice safety for that access.
We are waiting for a judge to make a decision any day now, any time now, as to whether or not the last clinic in Missouri will be allowed to keep its doors open to women in that state, even the ones who have to traverse the entire large state in order to get there. But meanwhile, any woman who does make it there will have to take off her clothes and submit to a medically unnecessary vaginal exam on the orders of Dr. Randall Williams as of this week. Despite her wishes, despite her doctor's wishes, that's his wishes as state director. He's the one who came up with that. And so women have to do it. Watch this space.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.